Hello everyone, welcome to episode 23 of BrickSide Chat. We had a ton of questions in the past couple weeks or so this is kind of a part two, I guess, from the one that came out on Wednesday. If you have asked a question in the past week or so and you don't see it in this one, it was probably in that last one that came out on Wednesday, number 22. But anyway, we have a ton more questions this week, so we'll start off right off the bat with TFTI68, who says, do you think sending out the drive-thru messages for orders is important? Personally, I do. Going to a BrickLink store or any store for that matter, if someone sends out some sort of message that says your order has shipped, it usually makes me feel like, oh, they're giving me updates, I guess, or they're trying to encourage communication between the store and the buyer. And personally, I'm a fan of that. So I would prefer that someone else sends me a drive-thru message. So we send drive-thru messages every time we ship our orders. Now, if we forget one, we still send a drive-thru message. It just might be the day after and say, hey, your order was shipped yesterday and should be arriving in 2 to 4 days or whatever instead of 3 to 5. So we'll update all that information if we forget to send it out one day or something, or whatever it might be, if we're delayed or something for that reason. Second question from TFTI68 says, do you guys have a spreadsheet or record of what part sells the best at your store? And we don't really have that. We do have all of our orders, obviously, and we could create that. Which might be something maybe Kyle or Paul will end up doing at some point, is going back and assessing all of the orders or creating some sort of program that does that and pulls all those orders together. We're looking to use Brick Freedom, which is something like Brick Packer. It'll sync the inventories between BrickLink and Brick Owl. So we're looking to do that in the next few weeks once that trial run of what they're doing and working on is kind of released. Supposedly, that should have a way that we're able to look at all things like that. I'm not sure if that's an exact option, but having the ability to see what parts do sell best in our store is kind of interesting. So I'm sure that's something we're going to be looking at into the future, most likely, especially if we get into used parts, which we're pretty positive we're going to at this point. So if we do get into used parts, that'll be something interesting because then we can see, oh, this does sell, this doesn't sell. So we'll know. Not that we get a choice of what we buy, but we kind of have to an extent, we'll have a little bit of an idea as to what's worth selling maybe, or not. Next question comes from Matthew, who says, would you consider selling minifigs on eBay as the prices are much higher? And yes, that is something we've kind of talked about. The reason we haven't done it is because at that point we're managing two inventories. So we have our BrickLink inventory, and then we'd have a separate eBay inventory. But that is something we've thought about, is selling them on eBay, because the price is just like Pop's Block Shop. Great channel. If you haven't seen him, go check him out. But he sells, I think, all of his minifigs, or most of his minifigs, on eBay. And he makes a lot more money on eBay than he does on BrickLink. So that is something we're potentially, maybe going to do. But we won't focus on minifigs as much as Pop's Block Shop does. He focuses a ton on minifigs. We'll probably focus a little bit on minifigs, but if we go the eBay direction, we'll expand our minifig inventory a little bit. But at the exact moment, it's BrickLink only, or BrickLink/Brick Owl once we get there again. But maybe in the next 2 or 3 months, we might. We'll all talk about it again, but we may expand to eBay. It's something we've talked about for a little bit now. Next question comes from Mike Hazit, who says, when adding new inventory or used inventory that you already have parted out in your current inventory, does it add the item together or separate it so you can sell new and used? So I think what you're asking here, and you kind of had an example where you had one bag that was all used because it was open, and another bag that was all new parts because they were still sealed, and you listed those as used and new respectively, anyway, you said, I just want to make sure they're listed as two separate lots, new and used, and they should be. New is not the same as used, so when you list something on eBay, it shouldn't combine your used and your new lots. If it says you already have this part in your inventory, it's already listed at that condition. So if it's new, for example, and you're adding a new part, it should say you have this new one in your inventory. It shouldn't say, like if you have a new 2x4 brick that's red, and you're adding a used 2x4 brick that's red, it should not say you already have this part in your inventory and want you to put it in the new lot if you're adding a used one. Hopefully that made sense. Your question did make sense. Hopefully my answer made sense. It is two separate lots, new and used. They should be separate on BrickLink in your digital inventory. It's Your Boy asks, do you ship internationally? And have you had any problems shipping internationally? We do ship international. We'll ship to most countries around the world. we have not had any problems. Knock on wood. No problems yet. So at the moment, that's why we are still shipping international, because we haven't had anything that's happened. The closest thing to a problem, I guess, if you want to call it that, is we weren't able to ship for, I think, 2 or 3 weeks a package to the Philippines, just due to everything going on right now. It said they weren't accepting packages from the U.S. But other than that, no real problems shipping international. So at the moment, we're still open for international, though it is, most of our sales, I'd say maybe we get 2 sales a month, if that. I don't even know if that many that are international. Maybe 1 a month. So 99% of our sales are in the United States. So there's not a ton of options or possibilities to run into problems yet, because we're not shipping everywhere, or people aren't buying from everywhere. Second question, Mitch, your boy said, would you recommend a way to grow BrickLink? I think social media could be a good way, like Blaine's World does. Potentially, yeah. So the way we've grown our BrickLink store actually has been this YouTube channel. It's really helped out. You guys, a lot of you buy from us, and you want to see your order picked and stuff. And obviously, I'll do that in a video and stuff. But I think YouTube has helped us significantly with our BrickLink store. Social media, here's the thing. I'm not great with social media. I don't know if you can tell that by the YouTube or whatever, but I have personal social media stuff, but I rarely post, and all these things. None of us, out of the 3 of us, none of us are social media like managers. Didn't go to school for social media or marketing of any sort. So ways to grow a BrickLink store. I do have a video coming out in the next week. I think next week, that was suggested, like 5 tips for a BrickLink seller. Was it? I don't remember what it's called now, or what I'll call it. But there will be a video coming out that'll give you some tips on how to grow a BrickLink store. I do think social media could be a great way to do that, as long as you're able to get the traction. Like, fortunately, this channel picked up traction. Like, you guys have all subscribed and watched, and it's been amazing. So that has helped a lot. If obviously you have an Instagram or something and you're posting, but people aren't following and picking things up, it's going to be hard to grow your store from that. But I would just say, if you're really asking ways to grow BrickLink, I would say diversify with different lots and expand your inventory, and have competitive prices and great service and simple term. I'll have another video in the next week or so with this. But there's a lot of things as to how to have a good BrickLink store. BG said, I don't understand how a BrickLink seller can see how much profit he made from his sales. How can you calculate profit from selling a piece if it's part of a set? Do you just take the average worth of a piece in the set? And this has to do with the My Cost section on BrickLink. Or let me explain this. There is a My Cost section on BrickLink. You can actually insert your cost. So if you have a set that, say, has 100 pieces and it costs $1, each of those pieces costs exactly 1 cent, because there was 100. So even though a part might sell for 2 cents and another part might sell for 22 cents, you're obviously going to have you have a 1% or 1 cent profit there, and then you have a 21 cent profit. Very different. But each piece, if you list each piece and you put the My Cost field, which I'll tell you how to get in just a minute, because we had a question on that. That was a disaster of an answer. Do you just average the worth of a piece in a set? Yes is my answer. Different people can do it different ways. You could say minifigs are more valuable, all these different things, but essentially, yes. Each piece, for example, if we had 100 pieces in a set, it costs $1 to buy that set. Each of those pieces in the My Cost field, we'd say would cost 1 cent. Then when we sell it for 4 cents or whatever, we can then know we have a 3% profit on that piece. That may not be profit, it may be paying for utilities, drawers, whatever it might be, all that kind of expensive stuff. But essentially at that point, you then know what you made from that piece versus another piece. Hopefully that made sense. But yes, the next question is from Elizabeth Season 2, who asks, how do you make the My Cost section appear on BrickLink? And by default, I don't believe it's on, but this is when you are adding inventory. There will be a little section that says My Cost. You're able to input however much it costs you to get that part. So if you hover over the My Store icon in the top right, and then you click the Settings button, also in the top right, then on the left side, you select the Management tab, and then scroll down to the section that says Store and Inventory, and then underneath that it says the Inventory section, and make sure the box that says Enable My Cost Input field is turned on. Now when this is turned on, you're then able to type in the cost input field, and you can say my piece costs 1 cent, my piece costs 4 cents, whatever it might be, and then it keeps track of that. And when you actually have an order on your order sheet, it'll tell you this whole order costs $2.50 for me to sell or for me to have those parts, but you made $25 on it, whatever it might be. So the my cost input field is great. It is something you really need to kind of figure out at the beginning of your store. So if you haven't started selling yet, that's the time to implement the my cost and keep up with that. Once you have a store like we do and stuff, and you have 140,000 parts in it, very difficult to add the my cost section to figure out what each piece costs, but it is possible. And it's great to keep track of your costs, because then obviously you can figure out how much profit you are making. And the final question, I mean, we had a few more questions, I'll talk about that in a second, but the final question this week says from Scarlett, said, if BrickLink ever takes a dark turn, what will be your alternative job? So BrickLink's not my primary source of income, not even close to it. At the moment, we actually don't even pay ourselves. It's entirely, it runs itself, it pays for itself, plus we can continue expanding with the BrickLink money that we're making. So I actually work in the film industry. I do a few things in the film industry, but that's my alternative job, if you will. So this is a side job at the moment. If this can turn into something where it could help supplement my income, I would never, I don't think, want to do BrickLink full time. I love what I do. And I also love BrickLink, but I don't want to only do BrickLink. I want to, do a few different things. I really enjoy that. So alternative job, my current job, everything I do right now. But hopefully, BrickLink continues to go well and can expand and hopefully make all of us a little bit extra money, or have a successful business, whatever we want to say out of it, And that's pretty much it for the questions this week. We had a lot of questions on the new taxes with BrickLink. So tomorrow, Monday, I will be having a video coming out on the taxes, the BrickLink new taxes. They're charging sales tax and VAT, depending where you live, obviously. So there will be a whole video coming out on that tomorrow with tips and stuff, and an explanation as to what they're doing, and hopefully that'll help everyone out there understand, what's going on, because I know I for sure had a lot of questions right when it came out, and I think I understand it now, so I feel like I'm able to give you guys all that information, being confident that I'm giving you the correct information. So look forward to that tomorrow. That is all the questions we have for this week. As always, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and click that subscribe button. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and if you have any questions or comments for this video, or any video, or BrickSide Chat, or anything, go ahead and put it in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you, or I'll answer them in a BrickSide Chat. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and it was informational. We'll see you guys in the next video.